Hi, I'm Peter Manos, Director of Research with ARC Advisory Group, and I'm here with Kayne Grau, CEO of Uptake. Kayne, nice to meet you.
Hi, Peter.
What brought you to this space and area that Uptake is bringing value in?
Yeah, so long story short, I actually have known our founder and executive chairman, Brad Kewell, for about 10 years. So we had done another venture together back in 2015 called Driven, data analytics, disrupting the wholesale automotive space. Fortunate enough to sell that company, and so reunited with Brad in mid 2020, and took over the day-to-day operation. Brad still thoroughly involved and still sort of the visionary, but yeah, it's been a lovely ride, and really utilizes my 25 years of experience in data and analytics.
Excellent. Well, what excites you the most about what you see ahead with your work with Uptake and your clients?
I think it continues to be greenfield. The whole space continues to be greenfield, and we're really sort of segmented in 4 different ways. We have what we call our heavy machinery or our equipment business that we really sort of service Caterpillar dealerships.
Okay.
We have our fleet or transportation business. We have our federal practice, so we're doing a lot of work within the DoD. And then we have what we call our process business, focused on discrete manufacturing, oil and gas, and energy.
CPG as well, potentially?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. And why are so many companies and industries still struggling with digital transformation?
Having been on, so I was a CTO for a number of years, right? And so what I actually love about talking to the customer is actually putting myself not too long ago on the other side of the table. And if you think of whether it's a CEO, a COO, CFO, CTO, whatever the C-level might be that is going through that transformation and having to make those difficult decisions for whatever reason, these projects are not small in size. They're very, very transformational, typically for the organization, very heavy change management, typically multiple projects happening at the same time, evaluation of dozens of vendors, all having the same message, the same value prop. So having to weed through who can really do what they say they can do, who can execute the fastest, and who can bring me value. And that's really where I have been honestly positioning Uptake is I do not believe we should be pitching somebody where it takes a year and a half to see value. I actually want a customer to see value within a day, within a week,
Sure.
Within a month, depending on size and complexity of the initiative.
Excellent. In some of our modeling of digital transformation, we talk about a 5-stage model. And with one of my colleagues, I was saying, well, if it was a Monday through Friday process, is how many companies, industries are past Tuesday afternoon?
Yeah.
Where would you say, what are you seeing in terms of the mix? It doesn't seem like anyone's at Friday of that 5-day process.
I don't think anybody's at Friday by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And there's probably a lot that are at Monday morning.
Okay.
With the Sunday scaries. But here's the way I sort of think about it is I think it goes back to size and complexity. But if you look at our Fusion product, which is what our belief of unified data management, of getting data as fast as possible in a secure manner literally from the factory floor, from the floor into the customer's tenant, into their cloud, typically within the Azure environment. I want the person to be able to download that software in the Azure Marketplace, begin using it without any Uptake involvement day of, wow, and actually see value.
Excellent.
So the advancement from maybe Monday to Thursday actually happens fairly quickly.
Oh, so some folks have gotten over hump day Wednesday?
They've gotten over hump day. and where we then insert ourselves is on the customization aspect of the additional things that might be needed around asset performance management or advanced analytics. And what we're really seeing is this big movement right now is we call it do it yourself or Bob the Builder, where organizations are making capital investments in data scientists, into in-house tooling, and really sort of building their ecosystem with partners, but also taking initiative to have that in-house expertise. How do we help augment that, complement that, in addition to the tools that we're selling them?
Fantastic, Kayne. So what else would you like listeners to know? I mean, you mentioned the Azure platform.
Yeah.
Is there a certain level of vendor agnosticism in terms of other platforms in the mix and heterogeneous environments and all that?
Absolutely. We have a very strategic partnership with Amazon in the sense of AWS. So it complements everything with Microsoft. We're doing some work with Google. So we are definitely agnostic in that sense. I do believe you have to go to where the technology is going in the specific part of the sectors. And so, in many cases, we do default to Microsoft in that process space. But I will tell you, in our federal and specifically within our fleet, we do a lot of work with Amazon, specifically with GovCloud and
Excellent.
And how that ties into our IL5 certification for security purposes. And so, we definitely are agnostic in that sense.
A good mix. So how can people contact you?
I am very readily available on LinkedIn, very active LinkedIn user, and Kayne.Grau@uptake.com. Email is always the easiest.
Excellent.
I love talking to people, love networking. I love actually learning because I don't come from this space. I don't have 20 years in any one of these sectors. And so always love talking to intelligent people that are, ahead of me and people that I can learn from.
Thanks, Kayne. We've been speaking with Kayne Grau, CEO of Uptake. Thanks for listening.